Biddy was, and she wasn't a witch, you see.
No, he never believed. He said she was a witch because she did nothing but good.
The people was all afraid of Biddy, more or less, and the priest had cursed you if we went near Biddy, right?
Yes, counted a witch.
And they was counting her a devil, that was it.
Oh.
In my calculations as you about her, is that she was no witch at all. She always kept the rosary, and she always had the rosary here.
She did.
Am I right, Hort?
You're right.
Very good. I was indeed. And she was a good living woman. At least she had the advantage over other people because she was able to tell you your wrongs, but you weren't able to correct her.
No.
We know, of course, she was married 3 times and made an attempt to be married a 4th landing, I'll put it, to be married the 4th time. You heard that.
A century ago, in the year of 1874, a woman was laid to rest here in the graveyard at Feakle in County Clare. To some, she was a miracle worker. To others, she was a wise woman. To the clergy, she was a source of scandal. And some called her a witch. That woman was Biddy Early. Dr. Bill O'Connor lives in Feakle and has made a lifelong study of Biddy, drawing on stories and traditions handed down from one generation to the next.
Brown-haired, and when she moved out, she wore a grey or brown homespun and a little white bonnet.
Margaret Murphy is now 80 years of age, and she recalls that as a young man, her father was a friend and regular visitor at Biddy's.
Well, my father used to say she was a thing, rather, type of a woman. She wore, he said, a white bandage across her forehead, and she had but one eye. And she told him that she never made a cure on in the name of the Trinity.
Well, she had chronic red eyes, blepharitis. It was a very common condition in the last century in Ireland, around the famine time, and babies born without having treatment for their eyes. You had at that time a number of poets, even in Ireland, who were blind. It was a very common condition. Chronic red eyes.
Biddy lived about a mile from the village of Feakle in a 2-room thatched cottage. Within 20 years of her death, the house had begun to fall into ruins, but recently Dr. Bill O'Connor decided to rebuild the cottage on the exact site. To celebrate the rebuilding of Biddy's cottage, Dr. Bill invited well-known Seanchaís, musicians and storytellers to Biddy's on May night, traditionally the night of the fairies. Biddy was born Bridget Connors in the year 1798. She married a labourer called Early when she was in her 20s. He died 10 years later. Biddy's second husband, Thomas Flannery, died in 1868 at the age of 45. A man named Thomas Meany was brought ill to Biddy shortly after this. Biddy asked him whether he would marry her if she cured him. He said yes. Biddy cured him, and they got married. So Biddy had a third husband by the time she was 70, Meany was 33. But the marriage only lasted 2 years, for Thomas Meany died on the 6th of May, 1870. Biddy's fourth romantic attachment was to a man called O'Brien. It is doubtful whether they bothered to go through a formal marriage ceremony. At this time, Biddy was 72 years of age. So, at the dancing here in Biddy's kitchen, it's only natural that talk should be of the great woman and her strange power.